Always great catching up with my next guest. Andrea KGB Lee is going to be fighting Roxanne Modafferi in a rematch coming up here at UFC Fight Night on September 12th. Andrea, how's it going?
Good. I'm actually in California right now. I'm down here with Aspen's injured. She's recovering, but I'm down here training with her people and her camp and gym, and really having a good camp. It's really smooth. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I did notice that on Instagram that you are down there, and I know you've trained there in the past, but it seems like you've got an extra long sort of camp down there. When did you actually get down to California, and how long have you been down there?
I got down here on the 9th, and it's 3 weeks. It's going to be 3 weeks total. So right now I'm in my final week now.
Excellent. Well, we'll talk about that in a sec. But first, let's talk about this fight. You must have been pretty excited to get this one. A bit of history between the two of you, and Roxy's obviously ranked pretty high.
Yeah, Roxy and most people, not everybody knows, we did face off against each other during Invicta days, and we had a pretty good scrap, and I lost a split decision. So I am looking forward to this one. Roxy and I did, we've become friends, and we like each other. We have a lot of respect for one another, and it is just business, but I'm sure that she's looking forward to facing me too. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I think we're going to make it a very exciting fight, and I think the fans are going to be pleased.
Well, is it tougher fighting someone that you get along with? I know you fought friends of yours before. I know you and Montana De La Rosa used to train a little bit in the past, and you guys had to fight each other. Is it a different approach to the fight, or you just treat it like any other opponent?
I just treat it like any other opponent. It is different, I guess, in a way, because you're going in and you it's all smiles and stuff at first. You're like, hey, you want to talk, and I really don't necessarily want to make small talk, but it's easy to kind of get into that because, you kind of already know each other. But when you're there, it's like, the levels of, of wanting to fight, like I don't want to say testosterone because we're not men, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it's high at that time. The it's high. And so you don't really want to ruin that energy by smiling and talking, and, you kind of want to keep that momentum going and just stay focused on, the task at hand. And, we can be friends after the fight. But we're going to put that relationship on hold, and go in there, do business, fight, and do what we got to do.
So you mentioned your first fight between the two of you was a split decision. Your last fight was a split decision as well against Lauren Murphy. I went back and looked, actually watched the fight again, and I also saw the media scorecards for that. I don't know if you're aware of this, but 12 media members scored the fight for you in that one. There's been a lot of questionable judging in Texas. It sucks losing, but does that make it feel a little bit better just knowing that a lot of people felt like you won that fight?
It does. It softens the blow. It's never easy to lose a fight. But I was proud of the performance, and I think that her and we did such a good job, putting on an exciting match for the fans. It was close, I guess. I do feel like I won the fight, but at the same time, it was her moment, it was her time. So, I'm proud of her, and everything happens for a reason. I think that I was able to prove a lot to myself in that fight by just standing there and banging, which is kind of something that I wanted to do. I wanted to make it gritty and not necessarily try to slip and move like I generally do. I just wanted to sit there and I wanted to fight. I wanted to just, I don't know, something about it. I liked it. It was dirty. It was gritty. It was fun. And I don't know, I was excited about it. But yeah, it does make it better, because Lauren Murphy just beat Roxanne in a unanimous decision. So, it makes me feel good about myself going into this fight.
Absolutely. It sounds to me, because I know there's some fighters that are like, because Texas has been an issue with the judging in terms of how they've scored fights. And there's some fighters who are like, I'm never fighting there again. Sounds like you're not in that boat, though. Or do you feel that way, that you maybe next time if they schedule a fight there in Texas, might be a little bit worried just because of the judging?
Well, hopefully I won't fight an opponent who's also from, let's say, Houston or Dallas. I think that they show a lot of favoritism towards their hometown. I am from Texas. Don't get me wrong.
No, I know. I was going to say, yeah.
I'm born and raised, but that's not really what's said whenever you're introduced. It's fighting out of Louisiana. That's what it says. So I'm like their rival. But if it's if they announce you're fighting out of Houston, Texas or Dallas, Texas, I mean, it's kind of like going to Brazil and fight, you know? I mean, you better not let the judges decide that fight. You know, you gotta go out there and finish. So, or you're less likely going to get the decision. I mean, there was quite a few bad decisions that night on that Texas card in Houston that I fought on. And it wasn't just me. So, I mean, it was very questionable.
There you go. Nice politically correct answer, which I like, by the way. Yeah. Don't want to ruffle any feathers here. As you dropped the camera there, we got you back. Yeah, it looks like we're good. I know you're just excited talking about it. I can understand. Roxanne Modafferi, where do you feel like she's improved since the first time you guys fought? You guys are two different fighters at this point, but I'm sure you've had a chance to look at some tape, watch some of her fights. Where do you feel like she's improved since the first time you guys fought?
I think that I feel like her striking's probably improved some. Her movements has gotten a lot better, and she's still tricky with her inside trips. You know, and I feel like all that's probably gotten a lot better too. Even though, like, because when we fought, she kept taking me down against the cage. I've gotten better though there too. So I've gotten better against cage myself. My defense has gotten good, but she did keep sweeping me with those inside trips, and her judo is really good. So that's something that you kind of got to watch out for. I feel like she's gotten better everywhere, you know? So I think that there's going to be a lot of things to like watch out for, but, I've gotten a lot better too at some things. So I feel like it's going to be a similar fight to what everybody saw last time, only I'm not going to be getting taken down as much. You know what I mean? Or I should reword that. I'm not going to be getting taken down. You know, I'm not going to allow downs. I'm going to defend the takedowns. I'm going to keep it standing, and I'm going to make it an exciting fight for the fans. I'm going out there to get bonus. That's what I want. I want a bonus. I want this to be exciting, and I want to get the win, you know?
And you mentioned training camp with Aspen. Unfortunately, she suffered her injury. She's on the sidelines. Is she still like around the gym? Like, do you still talk to her and things like that? Because I know obviously she's a student of the game as well.
Yeah, actually, I'm staying at Aspen's house.
I almost was going to say that, honestly, with the background, because I swear I've done an interview with Aspen in that exact spot. So,
yeah, I'm at Aspen's house. She's got a nice, beautiful.
Bought a new house recently, right? She bought a new house recently, didn't she? Yeah.
Yes, and so that's where I'm at. We're up in the mountains. Well, she's always in the mountains, but it's beautiful. You know, lots of land. I see deer every day. You know, I went down to the lake. There's a lake like across the road, you know, we can go to. So it's very peaceful. It's no wonder, you know, she loves living up here in the mountains. Like, I don't blame her.
Do you think you'd ever make that move, live up in the middle of nowhere, and in a good way? Because it's nice to get away from everything. It seems like she gets a hike every day. That's so cool.
You know, I would love to, actually. I've always loved cabins myself. Like a log cabin would be beautiful. A home tucked out into the woods, you know, like surrounded by nature. I wouldn't mind it. I don't necessarily want to live in California though.
Right.
But
there's a lot of weird stuff happening there with COVID and all the restrictions, right? So
I know all the restrictions, but it's you know, I would love to. It's beautiful. That would be a dream. That would be something to consider, you know, down the road.
Have you done one of those hikes with Aspen? Because she does it like every day. I know not as much now with the injury, but she'll take her dogs up. Have you done one of those typical hikes that she does? Because it seems like they go for like almost all day.
Forever. Yeah. I haven't gone with Aspen because of her knee, but yesterday I did go on a 6-mile hike. It's like 3 miles to the waterfall and then 3 miles back. So for me, that was 6 miles. Clearly 6 miles, but it was really nice. It wasn't up into we're already up in the mountains, but like the hikes that you see Aspen go through, it's like sometimes she's like stepping into like a winter wonderland, and then it's like over here it looks beautiful and grassy and green. Like her hikes are like way up in the mountains.
They're intense, yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't done any of that, but you know, I stayed close to the lake and close to where other people were at because I was hiking alone, and I'm not familiar with, you know, the mountain lines. I didn't have any like pepper spray or knives. I didn't have anything for like really hiking, like you should have to defend yourself. So I just stayed close to the lake and close to where people were at. That way, if anything happened, you know, I could find help. We
don't want to lose you, Andrea. You don't want to be in the middle of the woods and we can't locate you. So yeah, no, I think that's a good call. So who are you getting to train with in terms of bodies at the gym? In terms of training partners.
Autumn Norton, she fights for
Invicta. Yep, coming up here soon.
Yeah, she comes in and she works with me. There's actually a few other girls. A girl named Joy, she's really tall, but she's really she knows how to use her length and stuff on her feet, and she's really crafty on the ground. I think she's like a brown belt or something, like a brown belt or a black belt. I'm not sure. But there's also another brown belt jujitsu female who comes in and works with me too, and so I've been getting a lot of good work with these ladies and also the guys, and I've been getting one-on-one wrestling. I've been getting one-on-one Muay Thai. I've been getting one-on-one strength and conditioning with Coach Doug. Jim's been working with me one-on-one like grappling. So I mean, it's everything that we're doing is specific for my game plan in this fight.
And what about the weight cut? How's that going ahead of the fight?
Man, I weighed myself the other day. I don't know where I'm at now. Sometimes when you see a great weight, you just kind of like get a little like, oh, I get to eat. So I was like 138 the other day, and that's a lot lighter because normally I'm like trying to get to 139 2 weeks out. I'm like, if I hit 139, normally I can cut the rest of the weight, no sweat. But last week I was 138.6, like with no problem. So I think I'm sitting below 140. And, that means that I'm going to have a pretty good weight cut.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
I'm going to have Jim West, Tim Crater, and
yeah.
I'm also going to have Jake, their Muay Thai coach,
Cool.
whose last I'm struggling with right now.
No worries. I know who you're talking about. How's this fight playing out on the 12th in terms of the matchup unfolding?
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there and I plan on picking her body apart. It's going to be like a lot of leg kicks, a lot of shots to the body. I'm going to try to like weaken her to where I slow her down enough and then hopefully go in for the kill. Now, she's never been knocked out, but I did see her get rocked in her last fight with Lauren Murphy. So, I'm hoping, I can capitalize and make something happen there. But if not, I don't want to say that I don't want to leave it in the hands of the judges, but I feel like I'm going to do enough and I'm going to get the win regardless if I get a finish or not. I plan on going out there, making it exciting and getting my hand raised.
Obviously, Roxy, like I mentioned, ranked pretty high. In terms of a win here, where do you see that putting you in the grand scheme of things? Because there's a lot of interesting matchups coming up here in your division. And I think, a win here, especially a stoppage win, I think would really propel you up there.
I don't know where it's going to put me, but I think just getting a win is what's important to me, getting back on that win column and just climbing that ladder, getting back into the top. I'm in the top 10, but I want to get like into like the top 5, you know what I mean? I'm really wanting to, I would love for that to propel me to that spot, but I think it'll probably only propel me if I get a win over Roxy. It'll probably only put me like rank number 7 is what I'm thinking. It'll probably move me up too. The flyweight division is kind of like, it is so up in the air right now and anything can happen. I mean, anybody can get an opportunity to fight for the title, right now. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. I was on the verge of getting that opportunity had I beat Joanne Calderwood. You know what I mean? But that didn't turn out for me. So anything can happen right now. I just need to get a couple of wins and I'll be back on track.
How many more fights do you have left on your contract? And the reason I ask that obviously is like, you're coming up back-to-back losses. I know the last fight, should have gone your way, I think, according to a lot of people, but is there any more pressure heading into this fight, just, being on 2 losses?
I have 2, including this fight, I guess that would be 2 fights. I have 2 fights on this contract and then I'll be up to be able to negotiate.
Gotcha. So is there more pressure heading in with the 2 losses and knowing that you got 1 fight left after this?
Yeah, there's always pressure, but I do feel like I'm an exciting enough fighter, to keep, my place in the UFC. I don't feel like I'm going to just get cut because I've had a couple of losses or even if I end up losing this fight. I don't feel that way, but you never really know. You got Mariah, Sarah Morris.
Sarah Morris, yeah?
Morris, yeah. I always pronounce her last name wrong. But she's had quite a few losses, and she just renegotiated her new contract, and
that's a good point. Yeah,
I think that just as long as you're not boring and you're going out there and just trying to like hold people down and win that way or lose that way. I mean, I feel like you'll keep your spot in the UFC. Dana always makes a point to say, he wants exciting fights, and he wants he wants people to come out there and bring it, you know, and that's what I try to do.
I'd agree with that. And this is going to be a great fight. September 12th, UFC Fight Night. Andrea, always appreciate the time, especially I'm taking you away from this nice scenery and everything. So really appreciate it. But in the meantime, if you got anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, anything like that you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, I want to thank, the UFC, and I want to thank them for sending me Mills Trifecta Thorn products. I'd like to thank Victory Beef, Iowa Bison, and Punch Gunk. Also, Jim and Tim and all of my training partners, and my boyfriend Tony Aspen for having me out here. I could go on. Thanks everybody who's had a part, plays a part. Really appreciate all of you. And thanks to all my sponsors that I didn't name. My brain just, goes blank sometimes.